what's the background on this story? Why did federal bureaucrats find it necessary to rent artwork for $76,000 a month as opposed to, I don't know, going down to the local Value Village and buying a picture for $20?
And it gets worse. That's really the theme of this episode, right? And it gets worse. Yeah, well, it does get worse because not only are bureaucrats in federal departments and agencies spending $76,000 a month renting art, it gets worse because the government is essentially double billing taxpayers. And here's what I mean when I say that. So number one, the government uses your tax dollars to buy the art for its art bank, right? And that's in a federal crown corporation known as the Canadian Council for the Arts. And then bureaucrats rent that art with your tax dollars. So it does get worse because the government is, in effect, double billing taxpayers. So to lay the groundwork of this story, the feds, between January 2016 and July of 2024, they spent about $7.8 million renting art from the art bank. Okay, that's $76,000 a month renting art, billing taxpayers for it. And now to put that into perspective, $76,000 a month renting art, that is more than what the average Canadian worker makes in an entire year. You know, I can't believe I have to say this out loud, but maybe these bureaucrats should chill it on the art bank when record numbers of Canadians are lining up at food banks.
Franco, here's the question. Why did they feel it was necessary to rent artwork in the first place? They're federal bureaucrats. I mean, I guess you could make the case, I think, if you are running an art gallery, yeah, you want to invest in art. That's your bailiwick. But these are bureaucrats carrying out the business of government, not the promotion of artwork. What was the ostensible policy reason for renting this stuff in the first place?
Well, let's just be honest, right? It's a lot easier to blow money when you're blowing other people's money, right? Let's just be honest about it, right? We all know what's going on here. But you know what the crazy part of this too, right? Is that the highest single rental expense was about $120,000. Now, to be fair, we don't know how many rentals were in that specific rental purchase, but $120,000. You ready for the punchline? Guess when that took place? April of 2020. April of 2020. During the heart of the pandemic, right? Where were the federal bureaucrats? Were there any even in the office?
Oh, I see what you're getting at. So they were renting artwork for $76 a month for offices where nobody was in attendance.
Well, that's the big question mark, right? Like, were there even bureaucrats looking at this art? But look, folks, this is crazy, right? And I mentioned that there's the double billing, the fact that the government is buying the art in the first place for this art bank, right? That's within the federal crown corporation known as the Canadian Council for the Arts. In fact, in the last fiscal year where there's records for, the feds gave that crown corporation, the Canadian Council for the Arts, over $400 million. By the way, that government funding is about 90% of that crown corporation's total revenue. So not only are you paying for the art in the first place, but then the government bills you an extra $76,000 a month so federal department bureaucrats can hang up these pretty pictures in their offices.
You know, Franco, I can almost feel our audience seething. And here's the thing. If this happened in the private sector, if the CEO found out that some minion had rented artwork for $76,000 a month, there would be hell to pay. But that's the issue with government and bureaucrats, isn't it, Franco? No one is accountable. No one pays a penalty. No one gets fired for even the most egregious spending. And how can we reverse this, or is it irreversible?
Okay, a couple things. So first, there's two problems. Okay, number one, to your point, there is no accountability. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all just getting bonuses. right? The feds have dished out $1.5 billion in bonuses since 2015. About 90% of federal government executives get a bonus every year. Even with the worst federal waste, there's still bonuses. Folks, remember Arrive Scam? Remember that simple app that launched for 80 grand, ended up costing taxpayers 60 million bucks? Well, the federal executives working on ArriveCan got $340,000 in bonuses.
Wow.
Right? So, number one, there is no accountability going on in the government at this time for wasting taxpayers' money. Number two, maybe taxpayers could give the government a break if this was the only time they're wasting our money. But that's not the case, folks, is it? Right? Global Affairs Canada, one department, billing taxpayers like 50 grand a month on alcohol purchases, including a $1,000 booze-filled trivia night. Or how about this, folks? We got so many records of waste here. How about Parks Canada spending $10,000 in 4 years to capture one single American bullfrog on a BC island?
What?
Or how about this one? Yeah, Parks Canada, right? Spending 10 grand, 4 years to capture one frog. Or how about this one, folks? In 1 year, the Trudeau government had 3 affordability retreats costing taxpayers more than $1 million. Or how about Stats Canada producing a podcast that costs almost $1 million on topics ranging from gender ideology to arts and crafts to misinformation, right? So, or one last one, folks, because this one just boils
Franco,
my blood.
on the podcast, don't forget, nobody was listening.
Yeah, barely anybody's listening to. Or how about this one, right? The federal government spending $8 million building a barn at Rideau Hall. Now, you could probably tell by how I'm dressed, I don't know the first thing about farming, but I do know that my buddies in Brooks know how to build a barn for less than $8 million. So the problem is not just this crazy waste of money where the government is spending like $76,000 a month renting art, but also that this is happening all over the place, department after department, year after year.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too. More than anything, though, you'll be able to take pride in supporting real, honest journalism, and you'll help our talented team continue to do the work to push back on the establishment. We really can use your help. We need it, in fact. So thank you, and enjoy Rebel News Plus.